Okay. I don't speak in front of, like I'll come in and speak in front of whole public.
I just signed your papers.
Neither one of them. Mine doesn't.
I don't have any.
Just remember. Like here.
How we doing, John? Before I introduce the Hall of Famers, I would like to very quickly introduce two of the folks that are up here on the platform with me. On my far right, the principal of the high school, Mr. Alan Thomas. And on my immediate right, the president of the association, Terry McSheehy, from the class of 1964. And I would like you all to join with me in welcoming the class of 2006 Hall of Fame inductees. I'm sorry, I'm eating the microphone. Bill Christman, teacher, coach. Pat Craig Dearborn, class of 1961. The next inductee is Virginia Butler from the class of 1963. Ginny flew in from Nevada, where she lives, earlier this week, and has been visiting with her sister in New Hampshire. She called me this afternoon at 1 o'clock to send her regrets that she could not make it. She came down with a very bad case of the flu, plus some chest pains. So I said, stay put. We'll manage, okay? But the next one would have been Virginia Butler Eno. Jim Gravelle, class of 1963. Denise Emmanuel Marcuarelle, class of 1976. Amy Provencal McGuigan, class of 1981. The next inductee, who is also not here, Daniel Rick McLeod from the class of 1961. Rick could not be here tonight due to a disability which does not allow him to travel. So he couldn't be here, and he sends his best. But we'll still be inducting Rick in just a few minutes. So that'll be Rick McLeod. Next is Ann O'Sullivan. O'Brien, class of 1971. Richard Wright, class of 1953. Would you all now stand for the invocation? Hidden source of life, whose name is holy in every culture. We pause in this night of celebration to acknowledge your mysterious presence. As we recognize the gifts which many people have given to this and other communities, we give thanks for these investments in centers of learning, in centers of finance and business, in arenas of sports and athletics, in the laboratories of research and development and computer science, in the world of children, and in the concern for the protection of our environment and planet. Let the stories we hear tonight move us to greater service in this ever-changing world, and let your presence sustain us as we strive to create communities of safety and peace. Amen. Thank you. Let's eat. I'd like to introduce our Alumni Association President, Terry McSheehy. Terry?
Thank you, George. Good evening, honorees, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 16th Annual Hall of Fame Induction Dinner. It is my pleasure to be here once again this evening. This is going to be an outstanding evening with 9 great inductees who will once again show you the extraordinary individuals that Chelmsford High School prepares and gives to the world. I am always inspired and humbled by the depth and the breadth of the inductees' credentials. This evening is a showcase of the wonderfully creative and caring individuals Chelmsford High School has produced and continues to produce, whether they are students or faculty. These 9 individuals are examples of the success of Chelmsford High School. The CHSAA has a membership of 1,888 members, and we are striving to grow that number every year. We have members from as far back as the class of 1923 and from as recent as the class of 2005. Our endowment fund continues to grow. We gave out 64 scholarships last year. This year we will be awarding 71 scholarships. To date, we have given approximately $175,000 to the graduates of Chelmsford High School. And this past year alone, we gave $38,750. This year, we will give gifts totaling $41,650. We continue to publish a newsletter, The Lion's Pride, 3 times a year. It is one of the finest, if not the finest, publication of its kind for a public high school. This most recent issue, we have switched to a new format and font to give a new vitality to it. We are moving our website. It will now be resident on the Chelmsford High School website. Rob Russo is spearheading this move and hopes to have the transition completed by the middle to end of April. Look for us there, please. In the high school library, we have established a section called the Author's Corner. As it sounds, this is a place within the library where alumni who have been published can have their books on display for the students to read. This year, we have had to add another wall to handle the volume of books that we have to display. Principal Thomas and the high school have been very cooperative in this endeavor. I wish to thank him for his great assistance. We would like this area to be an inspiration for the students as they think about which career field they want to pursue. We are still working on the concept of having the authors themselves available to do talks with interested students during school hours. We are able to accomplish these things due in large part to the support we receive from the high school administration itself, the principal, Al Thomas, the deans, Ann O'Brien, one of our inductees, Jeff Doherty and Bernie Battle, as well as from the superintendent, Dr. Richard Moser. It is this close working relationship that allows the CHSAA to be so successful. I also want to take this opportunity to thank the Board of Selectmen and the school committee for their continuing support of this event in particular, and also the Alumni Association as a whole. I could probably go on for some time, but I am reminded of the story of a professor who once asked one of his students to describe Socrates in 4 lines. The answer was as follows. Socrates lived a long time ago. He was very intelligent. Socrates gave long speeches. His friends poisoned him. So there, before my friends poison me, I think I'll call back Mr. Simonian.
Thank you, Terry. We are doing very well. The Alumni Association is doing very well. And a great part of that is because of the cooperation we get from the high school. And I would like to introduce to you the principal of Chelmsford High School, Mr. Alan Thomas.
Members of the Chelmsford High School Alumni Association's Hall of Fame, those being inducted tonight, friends and relatives, it's a pleasure to be here with you tonight. We're gathered together to honor 9 outstanding members of the Chelmsford High School community. I'm here to assure you that there will be well-qualified candidates for induction for decades and decades to come. I often speak to a wide variety of audiences and proclaim that Chelmsford High School is a great high school. It isn't because it is a physically exceptional plant. It isn't because of any particular program or service. It's great because we have had, have, and will have a diverse, talented faculty, including the likes of Bill Christman and Ann O'Brien, a wonderful student body, and a dedicated leadership team in the persons of Deans Bernie Battle, Jeff Doherty, and Ann O'Brien. At Chelmsford High School, we have a teacher who has been honored by the Harvard Club of Boston as one of the most creative and highly regarded teachers in the country. We have a track coach, that's my Bill Christman connection. Gotta get track in there as much as we can. We have a coach who is such an outstanding college athlete that he is being inducted into that college conference first Hall of Fame. We have a state champion skier. We have a presidential scholar. We have 2 wrestling state champions. We have collected thousands of dollars to benefit many charities. We've given blood to keep hundreds, if not thousands, of people alive. We play beautiful music, create astonishing works of art, and perform with enthusiasm and confidence on the stage. And we have our first ever state championship team in gymnastics. As you know, I could go on and on. It may help you to develop a more complete picture of Chelmsford High School by looking at the representative list that's on each table. Please be proud of your high school and please share the stories of our accomplishments. On a different note, we will have a new 1,000-seat auditorium in almost a year. We will have newly renovated science classrooms and laboratories. Thanks to all of you for providing facilities that will support our fine staff and students. However, as a coach, I used to tell my athletes that if they came back the next season at the same level on which they ended the current season, they would be less successful. We can't be satisfied. We have to continue to dream and to create new goals and to work to realize those dreams and goals. We should have better teacher-student and student-counselor ratios. We should have synthetic playing surfaces to ensure safe conditions and quality competition. We should continue to expand upon our television production courses and have a radio station. We should expand opportunities for career shadowing and community service. I'm sure that all of you have ideas about how we can grow and improve. Please share those thoughts. Don't let them die or get lost. In summary, congratulations to those being inducted. Rest assured there will be many worthy of induction in the future. Spread the words that we have a great high school and help us to grow and to improve in order to meet the needs of all of our students in a rapidly changing world. Thank you for your attention and enjoy the evening.
Thank you, Al. Well said. And now I have the high honor and indeed a great pleasure to be here tonight to preside at our 16th annual Hall of Fame ceremony. Tonight, the Chelmsford High School Alumni Association is again going to honor 9 most worthy people. Alumni spanning the years from 1953 to 1981, and a superb teacher coach. Alumni from Towson, Maryland to Mount Vernon, New Hampshire. From Henderson, Nevada to Pine Knoll Shores, North Carolina. From Merrimack, New Hampshire to Acton, Massachusetts. From Hilliard, Ohio to Chelmsford, Massachusetts. From a highly successful businesswoman and high school athlete to a university professor and author. From an award-winning banker, businesswoman, and active community participant to an outstanding high school teacher and class president. From an active high school student and community participant and outstanding computer systems analyst to a highly successful rocket engineer and scientist and high school musician and an active church participant. From an outstanding high school teacher and highly successful track and cross-country coach to an exceptional high school musician, communications and media specialist, and a very active environmentalist, to a very active high school participant and an exceptional high school teacher, administrator, and involved community participant. Our Hall of Fame recognizes alumni from all walks of life. We're unique. We recognize alumni who have distinguished themselves while they're in high school, alumni who distinguished themselves in their profession, and alumni who have distinguished themselves in their community. We also recognize Chelmsford High School teachers and administrators who over the years, while at the high school, worked to make our high school, Chelmsford High School, the great, and I mean great, educational institution that it is today. If you had the opportunity to walk the corridors like I do, you should. The Alumni Association also recognizes individuals and organizations who over the years have given generous and continuous support to the students of Chelmsford High School with the Golden Lion Award. Your program lists those individuals and organizations that we have honored in the past. Before going any further, I would like to take a moment, and I really want to, introduce members of our Hall of Fame that are here this evening, and I want to showcase them, and I would like to thank them for coming and being a part of this great night. Some of them have come from great distance. When I call your name, would you please stand and remain standing until I have finished calling all of you, and please hold your applause until I have them all up, and there's a large group. Hank Brown, class of 1963. George Dixon, Jr., representing his late father, George Dixon, class of 1934. Millie Hare, class of 1936. Arthur Johnson, class of 1963. Judy Olson, representing her late husband, Carl Olson, from the class of 1963. Jim Parker, class of 1963. Judy Sidebottom Putnam, class of 1963. Dennis McHugh, class of 1966. Bruce McMaster, class of 1963. Bobby Paraso, class of 1964. Mary McCarthy St. Hilaire, class of 1956. Eileen Greenwood Fletcher, class of 1941. Jim O'Shaughnessy, class of 1963. Ed Quinn, Dean Emeritus from Emerson House. Chuck Toole, class of 1976. Jerry Hardy, class of 1954. Jack Conrad, Dean Emeritus, Whittier House. Cheryl Dumont, class of 1976. Paul Moody, class of 1954. Howie Neal, class of 1963. Lucy Ann Simonian, class of 1982. Angie Toronto, Dean Emeritus, Hawthorne House. Kathy Chu Howe, class of 1965. Dennis Hunt, class of 1964. Bill Cohane, class of 1974, and also the President Emeritus of our association. Bill Olson, Jr., class of 1966. Brad Perham, class of 1962. Bruce Rich, class of 1973. Jack Clancy, Jr., class of 1976. John Harrington, class of 1964. Lynn Mercia Marcella, class of 1973. Mark Mabry, class of 1982. Dick Malloy, class of 1964. Rebecca Warren, class of 1979. Bob Gagnon, class of 1958. Dennis Reddy, class of 1960. Blair Betancourt, class of 1966. Peter Hanses, class of 1969. Fred Crow, class of 1953. Bob Mackey, class of 1963. Laura Flannery Mason, class of 1962. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Here they are. How about a round of applause?
Excuse me, and George Simonian, Principal Emeritus, Chelmsford High School.
And now, I would like to thank 3 organizations and 2 individuals that the Alumni Association has honored with the Golden Lion Award for being here tonight and for their continued support of the students of Chelmsford High School and their continued support of our Hall of Fame induction dinners. The Boosters Club, the Rotary Club, the Firefighters of Chelmsford, Harry Ayotte, Harry, where are you? Stand up, Harry, and Carol Cleven. And now for why we're here. With a great deal of pride and pleasure, I'm now going to introduce the members of the class of 2006 of the Chelmsford High School Alumni Association Hall of Fame. But I want you all to know that if I was to list all of their accomplishments, we would be here until sometime tomorrow. And I'm not going to do that. So give me a minute and I'll get started. Bill Christman-Teacher, coach. Bill graduated from Albright College of Reading, Pennsylvania with a Bachelor of Arts degree in 1963 with a major in history. He graduated from West Chester University in 1967 with a Master of Arts degree in education. He started his professional career as a teacher at Haverford High School in Havertown, Pennsylvania, and he was there from 63 to 1968 as a social studies teacher and a coach. Then he came to Chelmsford in 1968 and was with us until 1999. A social studies teacher and coach, during his 31 years, he coached both boys and girls cross country, both boys and girls indoor track, both boys and girls spring track. In fact, he was the first coach of girls track, and his wife Sue was his first assistant coach. In the 1980s, his boys indoor track teams were consistent Merrimack Valley Conference champions and were first, second, or third at the State A Class Championships. At one point, they won 4 Class A championships in a row, including 1 All-State championship. He was the coach or the assistant coach for approximately 85 different teams. As a teacher, he served as a mentor to all new social studies teachers. In 1972, he spent a semester in India as a Fulbright scholar. During the 80s, he served as a foreign exchange teacher. Great times those days. Accompanying a group of students to Italy for 3 weeks, Tarquinia, Italy to be exact, for 3 weeks, and then helping host a group of Italian students and their teacher back here in Chelmsford for 3 weeks. He did that for a number of years. His awards and achievements. In 1985, he was the Boston Globe Track Coach of the Year for indoor track. In 1992, he was elected to the Massachusetts Track Coaches Association Hall of Fame. He was a member of the Chelmsford Teachers Association, member of the Massachusetts Teachers Association. He was a member of the Massachusetts Council for Social Studies. He was a member of the Massachusetts Track Coaches Association. His civic and community participation, he has worked on Tuesdays building houses for Habitat for Humanity. He serves on the board of directors of his country club. He's a chairman of Ocean Park, organizing work crews to keep the beach in good order. His family, wife Susan, a retired 25-year member of the Chelmsford High School Social Studies faculty, 2 children, daughter Karen Ann, CHS class of 1982, a son Michael, CHS class of 1986, 4 grandchildren, Rob, Kristen, Will, and Ryan. My pleasure to introduce a colleague of mine, Bill Christman.
Thank you, George. Bernie Battle asked me a minute ago if I was going to be under 3 minutes. And I said I drove 15 hours to get here, and I'm driving 15 hours to get home, and I have the microphone and a captive audience. What do you think? No, I won't be that long. We have a real rocket scientist here tonight. It's not me. I've received two important honors in my life, election to the Mass State Track Coaches Hall of Fame and this honor. And I'm extremely grateful for people to give me this honor. The best track team that I ever coached was before I came to Chelmsford in 1968. And I was about 27 years old at the time, and I had no idea how good that team really was. When it was over, it began to dawn on me that I had an awful lot to learn. And I tried to do that by listening and watching and implementing the things that I saw better coaches than I were working on. And I also learned that you don't do it alone. And there's a whole list of people who made my success possible, and I'd like to thank a lot of them tonight. If I slight anybody, and I know I will, it's unintentional. There's just too many people, and I can't mention them all. The list starts with Susan, 36 years of coaching widow. Anybody who's coached knows what that means. She's smarter than me, and she's better organized than me, but she's not as good a track coach as I am. George mentioned that we started the girls program in 1973, and we felt we needed a female coach at the time, so we hired Susan, and then we fired her. She's far too excitable, and she knows. We were barred from Billerica for about 5 years, I think. In 1984, I was named Boston Globe Track Coach of the Year. I think it was 1985, but I couldn't really remember. They have a nice banquet, and they give you a Revereware bowl, and within about a year, there were houseplants growing in mine. She always kept me grounded and humble. And maybe most importantly, she knew when it was time to go. One day in 1999, I came home from practice, and I found a house for sale. Now, you laugh, but it's true. That's true. And she was right. It was time to go. And it's given me a chance to make up for all the Saturdays, the thousands of Saturdays that I was away at track meets. And there were thousands. Administrators play a passive but positive role. I got to turn this over. And there's never been a better supporter of Chelmsford athletics than George Simonian. You won't find a better person. And Jack Fletcher. Jack Fletcher played a major role by staying out of the way. I wish he were here tonight. Jack never really understood track, I guess because nobody ever gets knocked down at track. Jack is gruff on the outside, and that's matched by his gruffness on the inside. It's really not true at all. Jack is a cream puff. He bleeds maroon, and Chelmsford has no better friend than Jack Fletcher. He believes that no Chelmsford kid should ever be denied anything for any reason, that every kid should have an equal chance to excel. Fabulous guy and a fabulous guy to work for. The deans at Chelmsford have always been my best friends. Ed Quinn, Al Thomas, Bernie Battle, Jeff Dougherty, along with John McLaughlin, Barry Bell. We played cards almost every night, every Friday night for, almost every Friday night for 25 years. And we didn't really play cards, we talked. And we solved the problems at the high school, and the problems of the town, and the problems of the country, and the problems of the world. And then next week we would meet and would do it all over again. I don't see them very often today, but they are still my best friends, and they will always be my best friends. I've coached against the best, and I've coached with the best. Any day you can beat Dick Collins from Andover, or Frank Kelly from Wilmington, or John Lang Sr., or Walter Nelson from Lowell. You've had a really good day. Our own coaching team was probably the best in the MVC because of the way we did it. We didn't coach a girls' team or a boys' team. We coached events, and we divided the kids up by what each of the coaches knew the best. It was one team with multiple events. In all those years, I never, ever had a quarrel with Jack Lang. Never. He is the perfect gentleman. And the strongest thing I've ever heard Jack Lang say is Jeepers Creepers. You laugh, but you know it's true. Yeah. And Jim Durkin was unquestionably the best distance coach in the state. I did quarrel with him once in 1987, and I'm still right. He's not here either. That's a shame. They're two people with entirely different personalities, and each were the very best at what they did. And the young guys coming along have an awful large burden that they have to pick up. And finally, I have to thank the parents of Chelmsford for the marvelous youngsters that they gave us to work with. Some of these names might not mean too much to you, and it just scratches the surface, but kids like Judy Sullivan and Janice Traster and Wendy Marshall and Billy Campbell and Ricky McDonald, the lovable Charlie McCrae, C.J. McCrae, the Goose, Michael Chamberis, Eric Beauchesne, the Willis brothers, Reggie and Vernon. The list goes on and on. And these are some of the kids that were champions. But it only represents a much, much larger number of boys and girls who were champions in their own way. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention two of our athletes who were taken from us way too early in life, John Carson and Tommy Chamberis. And I think of both of those kids an awful lot. I still do, all these years later. My life in the classroom and on the track were the best life I could ever ask for. I would do it all over again. And thank you for acknowledging that perhaps I did some good. Thank you. Hey, good job.
Pat Craig Dearborn, class of 1961. While at Chelmsford High School, member of the field hockey team all 4 years, co-captain her senior year. Member of the basketball team all 4 years. Member of the softball team all 4 years. Member of the staff of the press club. Member of the glee club. Member of the yearbook staff. Her professional career. She has been in the real estate business for the past 30 years. She obtained her Mass Real Estate Broker's license in 1977 and became a member of the National Association of Realtors and the Massachusetts Association in 1977. She obtained her New Hampshire Real Estate Broker's license in 1990 and became a member of the New Hampshire Association of Realtors in 1990. From 1977 to 1978, she joined Homes by Sheila Real Estate as a sales associate. In 1978, she joined Foster & Foster as a sales associate. 1980 through 87, she was a manager of Foster & Foster, the Chelmsford branch. In 1984, she was appointed manager of Foster & Foster of the Pepperell and Groton branch also. In 1988 to 1992, she was a manager of Coldwell Banker Hunterman Real Estate, the Reading, the Groton, the Acton, and the Chelmsford offices. From 1992 to 2002, she was a senior vice president and sales manager for Coldwell Banker Residential Brokerage, supervising 50 sales associates and an administrative staff of 5. 2002 to the present time, semi-retired, that's what she says, but still in the real estate business. Her designations: Graduate Realtor Institute in 1985, Certified Residential Broker in 1986. Her professional affiliations include many. Greater Lowell Board of Realtors, she served as chairperson of the Education Committee, served on the Computer Committee, served on the Make America Better Committee, served as secretary in 86 and 87, served as treasurer in 88 and 89, and now she served on the board of directors. Member of the Northeast Association of Realtors, served on the board of directors from 1997 to 1999. Local and state director, 97 to 98. Presently a member of the Greater Boston Board of Realtors and the Northern New England Real Estate Network. Her civic and community involvement: past member of the Chelmsford Business Association, past member of the Lowell Chamber of Commerce, participant in the Walk for Hunger, participant in Making Strides for Cancer Walk, served as chairperson for the Chelmsford chapter Toys for Tots, served as a member of the Coldwell Banker Cares, a charity for abused women. She's a member of the Chelmsford High School Alumni Association. Her family includes 3 sons: Richard, CHS class of 81, David, CHS class of 82, and Mark, CHS class of 1986. She has 3 grandchildren: Drew, Alexi, and Austin. In the 1961 yearbook, next to her picture, it says, among other things, has interests all over the world. Your future is sure to be a success. I give you a successful businesswoman, Pat Dearborn.
Good evening. At this time, I would profoundly like to thank Mr. George Simonian and the Alumni Committee for honoring me with this induction into the Chelmsford High Hall of Fame. For all the successes and honors I've had during my real estate career, this tribute from my fellow students and former teacher is the sweetest. I also want to congratulate my fellow inductees. Believe me, I know I am in very good company tonight. In 1961, I graduated from Chelmsford High School. Also in 1961, Diana, Princess of Wales, was born. So were Wayne Gretzky, George Clooney, and Mr. Ed. John Fitzgerald Kennedy was elected President of the United States. Construction of the Berlin Wall began. A postage stamp cost 4 cents, and the average price of a single-family home in Chelmsford was just under $10,000. I've traveled a long way since that day, but I never really left my hometown of Chelmsford. When I graduated in 1961, women basically had 3 choices open to them: teacher, nurse, or secretary. And even those choices were not supposed to be careers. They were only fillers until you found a man, got married, and raised your children, which I dutifully did in that order. In today's world, that order is sometimes reversed. But I knew I could do more. Something that I was taught here at Chelmsford High School made me want more. Perhaps it was the emphasis on excelling in sports and the leadership skills I learned from my coach, Miss Murphy. Our team's motto was a winner never quits and a quitter never wins. It could have been the encouragement of a favorite teacher of mine, Mr. Shepard, who had great listening skills and always made me feel like I could do anything. Whatever it was, I used the C from the CHS motto, courage, honor, strength, to take the real estate course, pass the exam, and receive my broker's license, going on to become a manager, as George said, with Foster & Foster Real Estate, and later a vice president with Coldwell Banker Residential Brokerage. My former coach, Carol Murphy, eventually left teaching, married, and became a real estate agent in the Acton office of Coldwell Banker, where I was her manager, and I was the manager and her boss. And where I believe the phrase, what goes around comes around, was first. Yes, I've traveled a long way since my days at Chelmsford High School, but I never forgot the most important lesson I learned there, the value of friendship and family. During my career, many of my coworkers and clients have become close and cherished friends. Some of you are in the audience tonight. Also here in the audience are the girls I called my closest friends in high school: Karen Tremblay, Carol Sharetta, Shirley Eaton, and Margie Linstead. I think it is remarkable that after 45 years filled with life's highs and lows, they are still my closest friends. Along with my good friend Bonnie Hare, who, although we didn't go to Chelmsford High School together, has become one of my closest friends and a welcome member to our high school group. I'm so proud of the 3 sons I raised. All 3 have become successful in their professional and private lives. 2 of my sons are able to be with me tonight: my son David and his wife Pamela, and my son Mark and his wife Cheryl. Also here tonight is my niece Leah, traveling all the way from Munich, Germany, with my sister Kathy and her husband Chuck. Also sharing my happiness tonight is that person I had searched for to complete and share my life, Scott. Ironic that it took me 25 years to find him, because the whole time he was right there under my nose attending Chelmsford High School with me. He even rode the same bus to school with me each day. So thank you all again for coming to share this honor with me and my fellow inductees. And even though I've retired from my management position with Coldwell Banker, I still want you to know I actively still sell real estate, so please feel free to call me. Thank you.
Virginia Butler Eno, class of 1963. Chelmsford High School. She was a member of the Drama Club. She was the treasurer her senior year. Member of the National Honor Society. Member of the yearbook staff. She was the editor her senior year. Member of the Speech Club. Member of the Literary Magazine. Member of the Glee Club. a talent show participant. She won a first place in the United Nations Regional Essay Contest. While at high school, she attended MITRE Corporation's course on computers and programming. It's a long time ago. Her college career, she attended University of Massachusetts from 1963 to 1964. Graduated from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas in 1984 with a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration with distinction with an emphasis on computer science. Graduated from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas in 1990 with an MBA. She was a Hilton Scholar and in conjunction with the grant assisted in research in the area of artificial intelligence protocols. While at the university, very active. I'll give you two examples. She was a tutor in computer science and economics, and she maintained the audiovisual computing software systems and the eventual redesign of these systems at the university. Her professional career, Union National Bank, 1965 to 1966, and the Lowell Technological Institute Research and Technology Foundation as a programmer and a data analyst. This is back in the 60s. Then to the Environmental Protection Agency, the Reynolds Electrical and Engineering Company, the Computer Sciences Corporation, the EG&G Company, computer software consultant, Desert Research Institute, which is a division of the University System of Nevada, as a data analyst, designer and developer of scientific databases and analysis systems, a systems analyst, computer and network manager, professional research faculty, quality assurance manager. She did it all. Some of her projects, just to name a few: the status of all United States above-ground nuclear testing data, monitoring of radiological and toxic wastes, including dioxin levels throughout the United States, design and development of a software system for analysis of seismic activity relative to nuclear events, design and development of software for the diagnostic component of an automated blood gas respiratory analysis system used by nearly all major hospitals and clinics, providing quality assurance for environmental science at the project and program levels in support of contracts with the Department of Energy and the Environmental Protection Agency. Her professional associations: member of the American Association of University Women, member of the Association of Computing Machinery. She did a lot in her community also. The school board member of St. Joseph's School from 73 to 75. Assisted the founders of the New Horizons School for the Learning Disabled. Then she served in the advisory board of that school in the 70s. Clark County Soccer Association coach. Hard for me to believe that one. Las Vegas Chamber of Commerce member, 1982 to 1984. Las Vegas Art League member, 1983 through 85. Nathan Adelson Hospice volunteer, 88 and 89. Earth Day Fair exhibitor, 1995 to 1996. She's a member of the Chelmsford High School Alumni Association. Her family includes her mother, Hazel Kahn Butler Mansfield, CHS class of 1940, and two sons, Christopher and Jeffrey, and one grandson, Brian. In the 1963 yearbook, it says next to her picture, among many statements, Ginny, perpetually busy, a friend to cherish. And I feel so badly that she's not here tonight, okay, so that we could honor her. And as I told you earlier, she called from New Hampshire where she was visiting with a sister. She flew all the way here from Nevada, and she's come down with a very bad case of the flu. And I'm sorry she's not here tonight to receive this honor. But she will be getting a copy of the DVD that we're making for her, okay? And I'd like you to, you know, thank you. She was a sweetheart. Jim Gravelle, class of 1963. At Chelmsford High School. Member of the marching band all 4 years. He was a recipient of the Larkin Award for outstanding service. Member of the drama club all 4 years. Talent show participant all 4 years. Member of the varsity choir, junior and senior years. He was a participant in the Northeast Music Festival. His professional career. After high school, he completed radio and television training at Northeast Broadcasting School in Boston. His first job was a correspondence editor at United Press International's Boston's Bureau. Later, he reported news at WOTW Nashua and WLLH and WCAP in Lowell. In 1966, enlisted in the United States Army, serving in New Jersey, Indiana, Kentucky, and as a platoon sergeant in Vietnam. Upon his return from Vietnam, he settled into Columbus, Ohio, pursuing a career in public relations, corporate communications, news reporting, politics, and community relations. He directed news operations at a radio station in Columbus and was a television news anchor, reporter, and producer in Columbus, Ohio. For 6 years, he was the press secretary and communications director for the Attorney General of Ohio. Later, he was hired by the Attorney General's brother to be director of communications at Federated Department Stores, Filene's. He was responsible for all internal and external communications and spoke for the company's Lazarus division and represented 16 stores in 3 states. In 1982, he established Jim Gravelle Communications, developing public relations and corporate communication strategies for many high-profile clients. At the same time, he was Director of Communications for the Midwest and East regions of Green Mountain Energy Company of Austin, Texas. He specializes in clients who generate or distribute electricity that is produced from renewable energy sources such as solar, wind, and water. He is recognized nationally as a consultant for companies and causes that must establish a public relations strategy and use the news media to generate positive stories and diminish the negatives. He and his wife own a small central Ohio farm where they raise horses. His professional community associations. He's president of Earthshare of Ohio and chairman of its board of directors. Earthshare is an organization that gives people an opportunity to make payroll contributions to a score of environmental and conservation organizations. He is a trustee of the nonprofit environment advocate Green Energy of Ohio, which is a leading advocate for the generation of electricity from renewable sources such as wind, solar, and water. He is also chairman of the Central Ohio branch, member of the Ohio Farm Bureau Federation, former board member of the Earth Day Coalition, member of the Amateur Trap Shooting Association, charter member and vice president of the Ohio Clean Energy Business Association, and chairs its marketing committee. Charter member of the Ohio Wind Working Group, the member of the Veteran of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Wars, and a member of the Chelmsford High School Alumni Association. Wife Carol Ann, who's with him tonight, 2 children, a son Jack, and a daughter Kathleen. In the 63-year book, under his picture, it says, Mr. Enos's sidekick, a songster for Mr. Jennings, an actor for Miss Canine. I present to you a man for all seasons, Jim Gravelle.
I had forgotten half of that stuff. Thank you, Mr. Simonian. It was the class of 63 40th reunion a few years back, and we were seated with Mr. Simonian, Hank and Cindy Brown were at the table, just chatting informally, and at one point Mr. Simonian said, "Call me George." Well, I don't know about you, but I am incapable of calling him George. I'd like to address the individuals from the early 60s, classes of 61, 62, 63, 64. I know what you're thinking. My God, has he aged. As Mr. Simonian was going down my partial employment record, I have a feeling that the rest of you were thinking, this guy can't keep a job. As he noted, my wife Carol Ann is here, and she's seated with a couple of members of the class of 63, and the class of 63 is well represented here tonight. And Carol Ann, I have a message for you. Sweetheart, the class of 63 was known for a lot of things, not the least of which is this. They lie. Grain of salt, whatever they say. I tell you the truth, I don't know why I'm standing here. I do know it's an honor. I didn't know to what great degree an honor until I walked in this room tonight. I am humbled and I want to accept this with the honor in which it is intended. I have thanks for the folks in the nominating committee, the folks who were involved in the induction process, and especially for my teacher, my mentor, my friend, Mr. Simonian.
Denise Emmanuel Marcuarelle, class of 1976, Chelmsford High School. Spent her before and after school hours working at the family farm and also as a caregiver for her elderly grandparents. That's Denise. Post-secondary education. She received a certificate in business bookkeeping in 1980 from Neshoba Tech. She received a certificate in consumer lending in 1994, the American Institute of Banking. She has certificates and achievements in Windows, Excel, residential mortgage, and home equity. She has a retail banking certificate, received it in 1999 at the New England School of Banking at Williams College. She graduated from Middlesex Community College in 2002 with an associate's in science degree in business administration. She also holds an enterprise banking certificate in 2003. Her professional career, from 1981 to 1991, bookkeeper, office manager for RJM Construction Company of the Roma Stone Corporation. 1992 to 1995, she worked at Mass Bank, first as a teller and teller supervisor, and then as an assistant bank manager. From 1995 to the present time, she's affiliated with Enterprise Bank. 1995 to 1996, accounting department, customer service representative. 1997, assistant bank manager. 1999, bank manager and bank officer. In 2001, assistant vice president. 2003, vice president. Their civic and community involvement. Chelmsford Rotary Club, member since 1998, acting vice president. Chelmsford Housing Authority, member since 2000, presently the chairperson. Chelmsford Business Association, member since 1997. The Chelmsford 350th Anniversary Committee for Fundraising, years 2003 to 2005. Chelmsford Family Self-Sufficiency Program, president. Chelmsford Police Foundation, member since 1999. Friends of Southwell Park, served as vice president and treasurer. Affordable Master Housing Plan, board member since 2003. Townwide Action Fund, a committee member. John Carson 4th of July Run, Water Station, chaired and sponsored, 1999 through 2002. Muscular Dystrophy Association Lockup Program, 1998 to 2000. American Cancer Society Walker since 1996. March of Dimes Neighborhood Drives and Walkers since 1998. Chelmsford High School Alumni Association, not only a member, she's on the board of directors. Busy, busy girl doing good things. Her family, husband Tom, CHS class of 76, 3 children. 2 sons, Brian, CHS class of 1996, and Joe, class of 2004. A daughter, Stacy, CHS class of 2000. All members of the Chelmsford High School Alumni Association. A couple of years ago, the Lowell Sun ran a series of articles on local heroes. I would like to read some of the things that were written. Marcuarelle does her share of legwork, collecting donations, selling tickets for fundraisers, and helping plan events. A lifelong resident of Chelmsford, she said, "I'll never leave here. Chelmsford is my home." I give you Denise Marcuarelle.
I've been eating those words ever since I said, my husband's dying to get out of here. And he's like, he said, after this last kid graduates, you're either coming with me or I'm going myself. I'd like to thank George Simonian and the Hall of Fame Committee for selecting me as a recipient of this award. It's quite an honor. I'd like to thank my husband and 3 children, Brian, Stacy, and Joey, for supporting me with my busy work schedule, my schooling, and my evening board meetings. Unfortunately, my daughter Stacy was unable to be here tonight because she's vacationing in Jamaica. I guess I raised her right. I'd like to thank my brothers, sisters, friends, and co-workers who came tonight to support me. And I'd also like to mostly thank my parents who taught us love, respect, and how to share in life with others. They had to raise 8 children. That was awfully difficult. They had 5 boys. No, they had 5 girls and 3 boys. What was most amazing is we only had 1 bathroom in the house. How nice how it was to learn to share really quick. We had to do that. Could you see the kids today having to live with 1 bathroom in a house? From my childhood, I guess I value most, I carried with me throughout my life, was my great work ethic. My brothers and sisters also share this value. Well, maybe not my brother Steve, but he's not here tonight, so I can say that. At 82, my father, who is here tonight with us, still farms and brings all his children great vegetables all summer long. He does it because he loves it, not because he has to. If you want to see great work ethic, there's nobody greater than him, my dad. I wish my mom was here tonight. I know she can't be here physically. She passed away 7 years ago, but her spirit is here. Having raising 3 children of my own, I never gave her the credit she deserved, having to raise 8. You ask a woman in her 40s what she remembers about Chelmsford High. I don't even remember last week, never mind Chelmsford High. I still live in Chelmsford, so I'm fortunate enough to see the talent that comes from Chelmsford High. I see this with my own children, the opportunities they had and the accomplishments they achieved. I'm in the Rotary Club, and every month I see students come through. And what they've achieved in such a short time in their life is simply amazing. I sit with a certain group every week, and we often say, the running joke is, what did we do? Did we sleep through high school? I believe my success did start in my high school years. That is where I met my husband, Tom. We met in our freshman year, and we're still happily married after 27 years. That's pretty rare today. I also have 3 of the best children any parent could ever wish for. They are by far my best accomplishment in life. I did the Girl Scout leader, mom, the team mother of different sports teams, fundraising for different community causes. But I was still looking for something else, so I decided to run for the Chelmsford Housing Authority. And my poor husband's been cooking supper ever since. Thank God for cooking shows. But he is a better cook than me. Ask my kids. This is when my life started to change, being involved with the people in the community, not just performing a service. I'm working with developers all the time to build more affordable housing, building new elderly complexes, offering more than just places to live. I do constant running of clothing drives, putting programs into place to help single mothers better their life so they can do more and be more. I've watched my own family transform from giving of themselves. Trust me, the first time I took them to their first community service, I had to drag them there. But soon after that, they got it. They began laughing, smiling, and interacting with people at any event we were doing. I believed it helped them and myself become the adults we are today. I have a quick story to tell you. I was responsible for starting a wellness program in a new senior center in Chelmsford. And I brought in a yoga instructor because I enjoy yoga and I thought it might help. We had one elderly resident that used to have a difficult time getting up in the morning, putting her feet on the ground, and just dreaded getting up every morning. She said to me 2 weeks ago how yoga has changed her life. She feels better every day, and she feels much better about herself, and she does not dread getting up in the morning anymore. I thought I was just doing this to keep them moving and keeping them healthier, but it's doing a whole lot more than that. And ironically, the yoga instructor came into the bank to see me this week and said, "Thank you for involving me with the seniors. It's made a difference in my life." She sees a difference in her clients that she didn't imagine could or would happen. She said, "I changed her life. She wasn't aware of what she was capable of." I will close with a quote from Katie Couric. She said in a recent interview about her late husband who died in his 40s of cancer, she said, "Human connection is all we really have." Some people go through life feeling like something is missing. They don't feel whole. No job title, money, degrees, or material things can give you happiness. All we really have is each other. So live your life with no regrets. I encourage everyone here tonight to make a difference in someone's life. I promise it will change yours as it did mine. Thank you.
Amy Provencal McGuigan, class of 1981. At Chelmsford High School, she was the president of her class. She was a class representative her sophomore and junior years. Member of the National Honor Society, junior and senior years. Member of the staff of the school newspaper, The Voice, her junior and senior years. She was a member of the band all 3 years. Member of the cast of the musicals, junior and senior years. Member of the Principal's Advisory Cabinet, senior year. Received the National Elks Merit Scholarship from Massachusetts. Her college career: attended McGill University from 1981 to 1983, graduated from the University of Lowell in 1986 with a Bachelor of Science degree with a mathematics major. Graduated from the University of Lowell with a Master's in Education in 1987 in Curriculum and Instruction. Her professional career: 1987 to 1988, Beverly High School, math teacher. 1988 to 1993, Raymond High School in Raymond, New Hampshire, math teacher, cheerleading coach, math league co-advisor. From 1993 to the present time, Mcguigan High School in Amherst, New Hampshire, where she is a math teacher, a wellness dance teacher, class advisor, choreographer for school musicals, and a coach for Critical Friends Group. It's a small group of teachers that meet monthly for professional growth and development. Her awards and achievements: in 1993, she was a state awardee of the Presidential Award for Excellence in Science and Math Teaching. Year 2000, nominated for Outstanding Professional Award in Dance Education. She was hired by Brown University as one of the first coaches for Critical Friends Groups funded by the Annenberg Institute. Her professional associations and activities: a member of the New Hampshire and National Association of Teachers of Math, member of the Gamma Eta chapter of Pi Lambda Theta, member of the National School Reform Faculty, member of the Visiting Accreditation Committees for the New England Association of Schools and Colleges, member of the University Alumni Association, member of the Chelmsford High School Alumni Association. Her civic and community participation: member of the Paint and Powder Club of Greater Lowell, member of the Daughters of the American Revolution, volunteers to speak and offer support to families who are adopting through Wide Horizons for Children. She has, and continues, she organized the 5th, 10th, and 20th class reunions for the class of 81. The 25th is coming up soon, this year, I think. Her family: husband Brian, 2 children, a daughter Sadie Allen, and a son Brian Alexander. Her father, Arthur Provencal, also known as Archie, CHS class of 1957. Her mother Judy, Shed Provencal, CHS class of 1958. I would like to read the closing statements written by Amy in the 1981 yearbook. Quote, "To all of us, Chelmsford High was a gathering of our peers. We will forever remember this time that we shared learning, living, and laughing together. For above all things that we found at Chelmsford High School were golden friends. We may never again feel the warmth and closeness of our peers that we did here in 1981. Do not walk behind me, I may not lead. Do not walk in front of me, I may not follow. Walk beside me and be my friend. To those who walk beside me, I love you. God bless us and keep us together always, Amy." That's a beautiful description of what Chelmsford High School is all about. I give you Amy McGuigan.
Thank you. Thank you. As a teacher, I'm over-prepared. But also as a teacher, I know how to cut it back if you're not going to keep your audience. So here's 2 pages of it. Well, it's between my husband, who speaks publicly and says, talk slowly, and George, who said to me, 3 minutes. So I'm sort of in that complex there. I want to start with a cheer. So repeat after me. I love math. I love math. Oh, you can do better than that. I love math. I love math. Good. Math was my favorite subject in high school. That was Mr. Hunt, my science teacher. No purpose to that, other than Ann was my cheerleading coach, so I thought I should throw in some kind of cheer. And it calms me down. So before I get started, I also want to thank whoever wrote in the paper, I don't know if it was the little son, that I was the baby of the class. You turn 43 and you're called the baby of anything, it's a good day. So I want to thank for that. So here's what I've prepared. I guess when I was a little girl, and don't get worried because I'm not going to go through the whole 43 years, but when I was a little girl, my parents tell me that I was far too serious, and when we all got together, even with other families and things, I would hang with the adults, not the kids. I was just more comfortable with adults, or I guess I thought, and they said, though, I would observe them to the point of being, they were uncomfortable because they were sort of like, what is she thinking? What is she studying? What is she doing? So hold on to that for a second. And as George mentioned, when I was hired by Brown University and to do a critical friends group, I said, well, what do you have to do? And they said, observe. And I said, well, I can do that. I've been doing that since I was a little girl. Today, we call what I was doing is studying. In education, we call it observing and reflecting and the inquiry approach and doing all, those that are in education know what I'm talking about. So I guess I've been doing that my whole life. And so I want to, in thinking about this today and coming back to Chelmsford High, I want to thank some people, thank the adults in my life that I observed, and because I think they've made me what I am today and the teacher I am today. So I want to go over a few people that I guess I observed and hopefully didn't make them too uncomfortable doing it. I want to start with my parents, class 57, 58. From them I learned work ethic, integrity, and dedication to family. I also want to thank them because even as late as 81, we were still being told that girls weren't necessarily going to go into math and science. And they raised two daughters, one that went into math and the other majored in science. And so I think they did pretty well. My sister Jill, from her I learned the act of kindness and caring. I was considered the sensitive one, but I really think she is it. From my husband, he's taught me to look up once in a while and let the sun hit me on the face. Look up at the sun, and even when you're hiking and trying to keep up with him, he's 6'6", and I'm just trying to watch where my feet are going. My daughter, happy birthday Monday. From her I've learned to approach each day with a smile. And my 2-year-old, who we adopted from Russia, that each day he's just a joy, and to remember that and keep that in mind. As far as educators go, I want to mention a number of them here. Not all, but again, what I observed and brought to my own teaching. Peggy Thero from 3rd grade, make it fun. Mr. Hunt and Mr. Hall in 9th grade, entertain, keep a captive audience. Mr. Donovan from English, show a sense of humor. Mr. Pasquale, connect to the real world, your subject area. Rebecca Nordengren, Cheryl Zeba, Ann O'Brien, class advisors, give to students beyond the workday. Mr. Mulkern, my history teacher, never stop questioning. Madam Mikopoulos, passion for subject. Barbara Siebert, who was not at Chelmsford High, but my dance instructor for 30 years, and who knew I was going to end up teaching dance. If Coach Cato knew I was teaching phys ed, he wouldn't put that together at all. But Barbara taught in Chelmsford for 30 years, and therefore an educator. And from her I learned stay connected with young people your entire life. I'm also proud to be part of that dance movement because New Hampshire now is looking at certifying dance educators to be in the schools, and they have K through 12 standards, so I'm very proud of pushing that along. From Dean Boucher and Dean Conrad, smile to your students and let them know you're genuinely interested. I always felt that from them. From George Betsis, be honest, speak to kids truthfully. And to George Simonian, be purposeful within your community, whether that be your school or the larger community. And George, I want to talk to you a little more because those are things I learned from staff, but obviously I keep learning from my students, and I only want to talk about one. We have a senior project requirement at our school, and they have to do extensive research and do a 20-minute presentation. And a student of mine about 5 years ago that I was on the panel did one on personality traits. And I don't remember the psychiatrist, and I don't remember, but I'm a math person, so I remember the statistics of what she said. She said that 3% of people in this world have a personality trait that they are the doers. And for whatever reason, who knows why, but they step up to the plate, and they're usually the people that make communities happen, make alumni associations happen, perhaps make reunions happen. And I'm not patting myself on the back, but I kind of had this aha, like, wow, that's me. That's me. That's me. That's what I do. And I don't understand sometimes why I keep doing those things, but I do. She went on to say that it's not for recognition, it's not for praise, and all they need to continue to do these things is a thank you. And so as I thought about tonight, I thought, this is my little thank you, because I'm certainly humbled by this award. When we have people in our armed services and things making such great sacrifices, I think this award to me is very humbling. But yet it's that little thank you that I hope is going to keep me going for another 40, 50 years. And what I want to say to George, as he's attracted, is thank you. This is your thank you from all of us, that you keep going this going, and that I hope you continue this for the next 40 or 50 years as well, George. And the last thing, and I promise it's the last thing, also thinking about this award, I thought about a teacher that my husband and I knew, and we needed a math teacher, and we knew a person, he's what you call a beautiful mind. He was a great mathematician, and we weren't sure he could teach. And about halfway through the year, the principal decided, no, he can't teach. So I was trying to mentor him through the year. But he came up to say goodbye to me, and when he said goodbye, he said, Amy, I knew you believed in this coalition thing. I knew you were dedicated to this school. I knew you did all the activities and communities and yada, yada. He said, but what I didn't know is, I didn't know that your blood ran black and gold. And I thought, well, our school colors up there are black and gold. And I thought, I guess that's a compliment. I don't know if I should take it as a compliment or not. But as I turned around and said goodbye to him and walked back in the building, I thought, my blood's not black and gold. I'm almost 100% sure my blood runs maroon and white. Thank you, Chelmsford High School.
Well said. Daniel Rick McLeod, class of 1961. At Chelmsford High School, he played junior varsity basketball, he played junior varsity football, but spent most of his after-school hours working at Purity. His military career, after he graduated in 1961, he joined the United States Army, something he always wanted to do. So he was in the United States Army from 61 to 67, 61 to 64 at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, with the 82nd Airborne Division as a paratrooper. From 64 to 67 at Fort Richardson in Anchorage, Alaska, again as a paratrooper. His college career. Graduated from Arizona State University in 1971 with a Bachelor of Science degree in psychology with honors. Graduated from the University of Maryland in 1974 with a Master of Science degree in psychology with an emphasis on psychobiology. Graduated from the University of Maryland in 1979 with a PhD in psychology with emphasis on behavioral pharmacology. He completed his postdoctoral studies from 1980 to 1983 at the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine, Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences, studying human behavior, behavioral pharmacology, and psychotherapy. His professional career, from 1971 to 1975, graduate teaching assistant at the University of Maryland. 1975 to 1980, instructor at the University of Maryland. 1982 to 1983, instructor at Johns Hopkins University. Then in 83 from 1993 as an assistant professor. From 93 to the present time, an associate professor, Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences at the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine. He also co-directs an anxiety disorders clinic, supervises psychiatry residents, supervises postdoctoral fellows in psychology, and is the webmaster for the Johns Hopkins University Anxiety Disorders Clinic website. His professional activities, he has been involved in a number of research grants, is a lecturer for the Johns Hopkins On the Road program, has authored numerous papers, research studies, and texts, too many to list. But here's just a sample: a handbook of anxiety disorders, principles and practice of biological psychiatry, and psychopharmacology. His associations: member of the Maryland Psychological Association, member of the American Psychological Association, member of the Chelmsford High School Alumni Association. Two of his texts are part of our Alumni Authors Corner at the high school library. Accepting for Rick is his high school classmate, who's here tonight, Gail Blomberg Duffany. Gail, would you please come up to the podium? Because Gail has a little message from Rick.
Thank you, Mr. Simonian. I'm very honored to have been asked by Ricky to accept this for him. We have been email buddies for about 3 or 4 years now, and he is in Maryland. He found me on classmates.com. So we've been in close touch since then, and he's become quite a close friend, and just we have a lot of nice conversations, so it's nice. We go back and think about Chelmsford and discuss people that we both knew, and I try to keep him informed and all that stuff. But I just want to read a little bit of what he wrote. But like I said, I am very honored and grateful that Ricky and I have kept in touch with each other. I feel very privileged that he's asked me to accept him at this ceremony, accept for him. And Ricky wrote, "Please accept my sincere apology for not being able to attend this ceremony. Unfortunately, my medical condition prevents me from traveling any great distance. I've been living in Towson, Maryland since '71, which is a suburb of Baltimore. It's about a 9-hour drive to Chelmsford. However, my wonderful friend Gail has graciously agreed to accept this award for me. What a great honor it is to be inducted into the Chelmsford High School Hall of Fame. Given my less than exemplary behavior during my high school years, I was quite shocked when Mr. Simonian called to give me the news." And he also says congratulations to Pat also, who is in our class. "One of my biggest regrets is that I never studied much in high school. This was apparent to me over and over again as I attended college and graduate school. I felt that I was better prepared for the courses I took in college than many of my fellow students were, and I will be forever grateful to CHS for this. As I turned 60, I began to look back at my life and found myself staring hard at my years in Chelmsford. I truly wish I could go back and relive those years with the knowledge I have now about what is important in life. I would have studied more while in high school. I would have kept in touch with my friends from CHS. One of my oldest friends, whom I met in Chelmsford High, Junior High, is Gail Blomberg, now Duffany. What a joy it was when she agreed to be my email buddy a few years ago. We've kept in constant touch. And again, I am very grateful that she agreed to accept this award for me in my absence. Thank you, Gail. Thank you, Mr. Simonian. And thank you, Chelmsford High School. Sincerely, Ricky McLeod, class of '61.
Thank you, Gail. Good job. Good job. How are we doing for time? Ann O'Sullivan O'Brien, class of 1971. At Chelmsford High School, the class treasurer, member of the drama club, majorette all 3 years, Christmas queen his senior year, student intern for the town of Chelmsford television studio when it was in its infancy. Her college career: graduated from Lowell State College in 1975 with a Bachelor of Arts degree with a history major. Graduated from Rivier College with a Master of Arts degree in Social Studies in 1980. She received her certificate in secondary administration from Fitchburg State College in 1982. Received a certificate in special education from Rivier College in 1990. Has completed coursework in media and technology and leadership at Harvard and at UMass Amherst and at Merrimack Education Center. Her professional career. From 1976 to the present time, the Chelmsford Public Schools. 1976 to 2001, social studies teacher at Chelmsford High School with short interim tours at both the Parker and McCarthy Junior High Schools. From 2001 to the present time, she's Dean of Hawthorne House. She has served as Student Council Advisor from 1985 through 1988, and then from 1994 to 2001. She was the class advisor for the classes of 84 and 88. She was a mentor trainer from 1999 to 2001. On a lighter note, she participated in a number of high school faculty plays, helping raise funds for scholarships. We had a lot of fun. Those were good days. Her professional associations and activities. Member of the National Association of Secondary School Principals. Member of the National and State Association of Student Councils. Member of the Massachusetts Council for the Social Studies. Member of the Massachusetts Association for Supervision and Curriculum Development. She's a member of the Chelmsford High School Alumni Association. Her civic and community participation. Project 300 organizer at the McCarthy from 1979 to 1995, collecting food for the needy. Earth Day programs for the rainforest from 1990 to 1995 while at the McCarthy, raising funds to preserve the Belize rainforest. Pennies for Food program at the McCarthy from 1990 to 1995 for the Lowell Food Pantry. From 1997 to 1999, working with the Chancellor Lodge of Elks, organizing Student Government Day. From 1998 to 2003, the director of the Chelmsford 24-Hour Relay, raising funds for the Food Pantry, Senior Center, Police and Firefighter Charities, Chelmsford High School, and other local charities. It is a program that promotes drug-free lifestyle and community connections between adults and students, and it's coming back this year, this spring, in fact, right now? Good. From 1996 to 2004, the K-12 television series, Education and Parents. From 1999 to 2005, Student Leadership Day held at the UMass Boston, training for student leaders. Her family includes her husband, William, 3 children, a son, William, 2 daughters, Brittany and Bridget. Her extended family includes her mother, Ruth Eleanor Sturdivant O'Sullivan, CHS class of 1932. Her 2 sisters, Marlene O'Sullivan Kidd, CHS class of 1959, and Joan O'Sullivan de Silva, CHS class of 1960. She also has 2 nieces from CHS, Christine Kidd Petrullo, class of 78, and Lisa Kidd Lefevre, class of 1979. I give you an outstanding, outstanding educator, Ann O'Brien.
I hope my children were listening to that, because on the way over here, my daughter said, "What are we going to this for? Why would you be getting recognized?" So, as a mother who's traveled around for 12 years to sports events from state to state, almost country to country, and spent many weekends doing laundry, they don't see the other side of what I do when I'm in the classroom. However, this award and recognition is very special. Chelmsford, to me, as to all the people here, is just a wonderful community. And I just want to thank George Simonian, and I want to thank the people involved in the Alumni Association for allowing the recognition and bringing together the people and families on a wonderful celebration for the good things that people are doing in our community. So thank you, George, and thank you to all the members of the Alumni Association. I'm just going to grab this. Thank you. Now, I don't write speeches. This is like an on-running joke, okay? I didn't even have a pen because I would have jotted down some notes. I was going to steal Amy's pen, but she wouldn't let me have it. So I don't, and it's just something that I have a phobia about, writing a speech. So my colleagues decided they would write a speech for me. And I'll just give you a little bit of this. I am nothing without Bernie and Jeff, okay? So, I would like my colleagues Bernie and Jeff and Al, if you would stand here, please, okay? Just for the recognition, please stand, okay? You know, they joke about this, but I actually was going to say something to that effect. They have been my mentors. They have been so supportive. They have taken me into this wonderful organization of the dean and the principal, and they have just included me in every way, shape, and manner. I have been the first woman appointed in the administration in about 25 years to Chelmsford High School, or 30 years. It hasn't been because I'm a woman. It's because there hasn't been an opening to speak of in those years, because the people in Chelmsford stay. The administration stays. They are committed. You look at many other school systems and they're there for 2 years, 3 years, they're back and forth. In Chelmsford, the people live and die here. We want to be here. We love it. And that's a great thing. I'm a graduate. I don't live here, but I wanted my career to be in Chelmsford, and that's where my passion is. You don't get an award like this without the support of all the people around you, the staff, the teachers, the administration, the students, and your family, because you can't be doing all of these things with people that aren't supporting you. So I do want to thank all the colleagues at Chelmsford High School that have been there and always rallied behind all the crazy things that we've been willing to try. And I do want to thank my children. If 3 children would stand, my families are kind of at 2 different tables. They have shared Chelmsford High School for all these years with me. They have been in the relay. They have been on field trips. They have been in every event. They have been to Mr. CHS. They're at the age now they don't choose to do all those things with me, but they have grown up as a Chelmsford High member. My husband, sitting over here with my 2 nieces and my niece and nephew, he's been willing and never complained about all the nights that he'll say, "You're going out again? There's another event to go to." So I appreciate that he's never held me back and he's supported me, and it's because of these people that you can get these kinds of awards. You have the support that you have. And I wanted to continue to say thank you to all the mentor teachers that I had at Chelmsford High School, and the few that come to mind, and there are many, many. Eileen Fletcher, who was my cheerleading majorette coach. Eileen, would you stand? John McLaughlin. Just to name a few. Eileen made sure I dated the right people in high school. If you were one of Eileen's girls, you didn't do anything wrong. So thank God for Eileen. My mother thanked her every day because she was my coach. I'm sad that my parents aren't with us today, because my father always said, "Someday you'll be an administrator." It was never a goal, but he said, "You will be there." And I'd said, "Dad, that's kind of stretching it a little bit." But here I am. I've had an opportunity, and it's been a great experience, and I thank my colleagues for allowing this to happen. Now, also they have on the speech here, it says, "I want to thank them for carrying me for the last 5 years." Okay? See what else. I promise not to tell the story about skipping school. Just a quick little aside on that one. I was asked to be a speaker at the National Honor Society, and I talked about life comes in full circles. And that the one day I got in trouble from Mrs. Mooney, for any of you who know Mrs. Mooney, I got in trouble from Mrs. Mooney and got killed when I got home. But that event, getting in trouble with Mrs. Mooney, and she took me under her wing, and I never did a thing wrong until I saw Mrs. Fletcher, and then she straightened me out again up at the high school. Those kinds of connections and people that cared made me want to be an educator, because they made you love the learning. I said I wouldn't cry. Care about kids and give back to your community. So I want to thank you, George. I want to thank all of you for letting me have this award. Thank you.
I hope you're getting the picture about Chelmsford High School. It's special. Richard Wright, class of 1953, at Chelmsford High School. Member of the band for 4 years, under the direction of Bernie Larkin. Member of the press club. Member of the bowling club. bowling at the famous North Chelmsford bowling lanes in Vinyl Square. And they're still there. His college career. Graduated from Worcester Polytechnic Institute in 1957 with a Bachelor of Science degree in electrical engineering with an electronics option. While at WPI, he worked at Raytheon as a co-op student. He obtained some sample transistors, if you remember them or not, and built a small radio transmitter that in 1956 was credited with the first transatlantic communication using transistors and using less power than that of a flashlight. Took a number of graduate courses at Northeastern towards a master's degree, which was interrupted when he was transferred to Florida by Raytheon. His professional career. A design engineer for 38 years with Raytheon, developing the Hawk, the Sparrow, and Polaris missiles. In the early 60s, he spent 2 years as a field engineer at Cape Canaveral, supporting both land and submarine launches of the Polaris missile. This involved complete testing of the guidance systems, integrating the guidance system to the missile and operating the consoles for missile flight tests. He was on board the submarine that launched a Polaris missile for President Kennedy about a month before his assassination. Later returned to Massachusetts and continued his guidance systems design for the newer Poseidon and Trident missiles and the Apollo space program. He served as a resident engineer for 2 years at the Draper Laboratories in Cambridge, where he wrote the procedures that the astronauts used to communicate with the guidance system on the Lunar Excursion Module, the thing that goes around on the moon. Significant achievements. He is credited with 2 patents and has received several awards for his technical contributions. On a side note, he established a garden club at Raytheon by turning several acres of unused land into hundreds of plots where the employees developed victory gardens. These were tended to at lunchtimes and served as great morale boosters. However, as the company prospered and grew, these plots were turned into parking lots. He's been a very active radio amateur since his high school days and put his talents to work during the tsunami of last year and received an award from the American Radio Relay League. His civic and community participation. He's a communications officer for the Acton Civil Defense. During the blizzard of '78, used his radio experience maintaining communications with state civil defense agencies. With his wife, organized a parent support group based on tough love principles. For 9 years, conducted weekly meetings with hundreds of parents dealing with unacceptable teenage behavior. God bless you. His church activities include serving as a licensed Eucharistic minister for the Diocese of Massachusetts. He has served on church vestry and held position of junior warden. He served on his parish finance committee, has held numerous leadership positions of the Massachusetts Episcopal Council, has served on the class of 1953 reunion committees. He's a life member of the Chelmsford High School Alumni Association. His family, grandmother, Charlotte Spriggs McNeil, class of 1905. His mother, Dorothy McNeil Wright, class of 1932. His grandfather, George S. Wright, superintendent of schools, 1928 to 1945. The auditorium at the McCarthy is named after him. That is the Wright Auditorium. I never knew that. His first wife, Barbara, passed away in 1979. His present wife, Catherine. 3 children, Brenda, Karen, and Judy, and they're all here, and 6 grandchildren. In the 1953 yearbook, it says next to his picture, authority on math, the big boy with the big brass horn. I give you Dick Wright.
This has been a very, very humbling experience for me. I really feel honored and very thankful to the gals of the class of '53, some of whom are here tonight, for this prestigious honor. I really feel proud about it. And as George mentioned, the one person who I wish were here that would have appreciated this was my grandfather, George Wright. And I didn't realize how long he had been superintendent of the Chelmsford schools, but he straightened that out.
I
When I came home from my first day at Chelmsford High School, I told my mother that I had been in the homeroom of Daisy B. McBrain. And she was kind of surprised about that and said that Daisy B. McBrain was also her homeroom teacher. But it doesn't stop there. She said that her mother, my grandmother, was also a student of the same Daisy B. McBrain for English. 3 generations and 1 teacher. I don't think that's happened very often. And I'm very glad, by the way, to see my French teacher, Millie Hare, over there. Haven't seen her for a while. My time at Chelmsford High School was filled with lots of very, very happy memories. I have many of them. One thing, I rarely went to study hall, except when I got some detentions once in a while, but most of the time I went down to the band room with Bernie Larkin, another member of our Hall of Fame. He suffered from ulcers real bad, and his stomach was in bad shape. And one of the things that he used to do every once in a while is he'd give me the keys to his car. He had a Kaiser. How many of you remember Kaiser Fraser? And he had me go down to the Page's drugstore to get him a vanilla frap. That was the only thing that would soothe his stomach ulcers. Now the drugstore is gone. Jack's Diner's gone. Skip's is still there, and it's not a lot different than it was 50 years ago. But the ice cream stand right next door is gone. But that milk bottle, I've seen that out back someplace down there. We all have lots of memories from our times at Chelmsford High. We don't have time to share them all. It's just take too long. It's been a long night, and I'm reminded of one thing that happened to me when I graduated from WPI. The diplomas were distributed by departments. Mechanical engineers got theirs first, then the civil engineers and chemical engineers, and the electrical engineering was last. And since they gave them out alphabetically with a W for my last name, I was the last one on the list. And on that day, as I walked across the stage at Memorial Auditorium in Worcester, about halfway across, the audience broke out in applause, clapping. And I looked, and I was kind of surprised and thinking that I had done something, and then I realized that they were just applauding because the ceremony was over. It was over. Well, that's the way it is tonight. I was the last one here tonight alphabetically. It's coming to an end. I'm very glad that I'm here. I'm very proud to have been selected, and I'm glad to go home now, like many of you are. I want to thank you all, and God bless.
Now to close, I would like to thank a number of people who helped put this evening together. No easy task. When I call your name, please stand, and again, remain standing until I have you all standing. And please hold your applause until I have them all up. Sue Clancy, Bruce McMaster, Howie Neild, Ed Quinn, Mary St. Hilaire, John Wilbrenner, Lynn McSheehy, Mark Willett, Tom Peterson. He's already standing. Now for your round of applause. Congratulations to the new members of our Hall of Fame. Thank you all for coming tonight. Remember?
Excuse me a moment.
Whoops, what happened?
There's one more piece of business. Sit down.
Wait a second, let me finish this.
No. Okay, go ahead.
Get your parking garage tickets validated at the front desk. Make sure so you won't pay. See you all next year, and I mean this sincerely. You should come back. It's a great night. It's March the 24th, 2007, and the tickets are being printed next week. So if you see me around, you'll know why. And now,
No, now sit down. I have one more piece of business.
he's the president.
Yes, thank you. Finally, you recognize that. Ladies and gentlemen, I need just a few more minutes of your time. I'd like to now call up President Emeritus Bill Cohane for a special presentation. Is he smiling? No. No. Does he ever? This has only happened once before in the history of our organization, where the MC has been surprised. We did it about, I don't know, about 10, 12 years ago. We had an opportunity where the school committee named the stadium the George Simonian Alumni Stadium, and it was quite an honor, so we decided it was an appropriate thing to do at this occasion. Well, about a month ago when George and I were reviewing the program for this evening, I was reading over the Hall of Fame. It's right in the front of your program, and there was something that hit me. Something, it just grabbed me, and let me just read it to you. It says, "The Golden Lion Award was established in 1994. This award recognizes the contribution of individuals or organizations who, while not members of the Chelmsford High School community, have continually made significant contributions and offered considerable support to Chelmsford High School and its students." Well, about 18 years ago when I approached this guy to start this organization, I didn't realize I was going to get two people who would be as committed as I was to the success of this. There was one other person who was with us these last 18 years, every step of the way, Lucy Simonian. And I know it's really hard for some of us tonight. We miss her very much. But I just wanted to announce that from now and forever, and from this day forward, this will be known as the Lucy E. Simonian Golden Lion Award. Thank you to the Board of Directors of the Alumni Association, and thank you to Lucy. Say anything?
Thank you. She'd be sitting right back there. She was my right arm, my left arm. She was my everything. As I said a number of times ago, whatever success I've had, okay, it's all due to my wife. It's not easy being a high school principal, as Al will tell you. It's a 7 days a week job, 24 hours, 7 days a week job, okay? And the support of your family is critical if you're going to meet with any kinds of success. And I had that. I had that from my wife from the day one, okay? And I miss her dearly. And it's tough. It's very, very tough. And I want to thank you all so much. Thank you. Thank you. Where was I?
You were about